So we've got another question in now, which is, we know that users need to give consent to cookies under GDPR, so that's cookies on your websites. Do they also need to be given the facility to withdraw consent to them? So if you've clicked that button to say consent to cookies on someone's website, does your website, I think this is the question, does your website also need to have a facility to withdraw that consent?
So cookies are actually only mentioned once in GDPR, but it's quite significant. So when cookies can identify an individual, then it's personal data. So then just becomes like any other type of personal data. And if you're relying on consent to process that personal data, then yes, absolutely, they need to be given the option to withdraw that consent as easily as they gave it. GDPR specifically says that it needs to be as easy to withdraw consent as it is to give consent. So for cookies under GDPR, I would make sure that consent is there. Just one very other quick point on that not all cookies are used in a way that could identify people. So there may be some cookies, depending on the technical aspects of your website, that don't identify a person. So make sure you check actually how your cookies are working.
Okay. Dan asks, we register applicants' information on an electronic system in order to provide our services to them. Do we need their permission to pass this information on to our clients, or could we claim a legitimate interest?
Possibly legitimate interest here, also possibly contract. Like if these are applicants onto their system, I'm imagining there's some sort of potentially contract here with those people.
I guess it depends on what
depends on, I guess,
if
type
it's
of
something
business.
like recruitment,
right?
Someone's applying for a position that's been advertised, presumably legitimate interest would work.
Legitimate interest could work. Consent, again, depending on what Dan's doing, what Dan's taking the data in for. I think if we were talking about something like recruitment, then consent would be a good one to do. And also, you might want explicit consent, because CVs can often have sensitive special category data in them. So I would just be very check what you think is the most useful condition for processing there. And just one other quick point, that ICO has a very, very useful tool on their website that we talked about in our webinar, where you can actually do a short assessment and it will tell you what they think is the best condition for processing. So we mentioned in our last webinar, it's on the ICO's website. We'll tweet that out as well just now from our account, but it's a great tool to use if you're struggling to figure out what's the right condition.